Welcome back to the Morning Blend. Well, most people know the feeling when their ears pop while flying in a plane or maybe riding in an elevator or up a tall building. But some people actually feel that type of pressure all the time. Our next guest has become the first medical practice in Wisconsin to perform a revolutionary new treatment that finally provides relief to long-suffering patients with this type of problem. Dr. Madan Kandula from Advent is here to tell us all about it. Great to see you and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
You know, ear problems I always think of as being very common in kids.
Yep.
But the reality is that might be true, but it can sometimes be a problem that doesn't correct itself and doesn't go away.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is. So the Eustachian tubes are the tubes that connect the ears to the back of the nose, and in kiddos, their Eustachian tubes are smaller and thinner, and so that's why they're more prone to ear infections, ear fluid issues. As folks grow, a lot of times folks will grow out of it, but they're about 1% of the population don't, and so they have a miserable time on in airplanes or scuba diving or even in an elevator. So simple things that you think, well, that shouldn't cause you issues, does. And for a lot of those same folks, they'll walk around with just fluid behind the eardrums, which is miserable. So if you imagine walking around and living your life with earplugs in, and it's miserable because we haven't had a good solution for them.
Yeah, and basically the problem is sort of like ear pressure, right? I mean, that hurts. So it's ear pressure. It can be fluid behind the eardrum, pain, and then are there also common ear infections that often come with it?
So pretty much anybody who's ever had an ear infection has had Eustachian tube issues. If anybody's ever been on an airplane or had a cold and felt that pressure, that's annoying, but that's the Eustachian tube. So that tube is supposed to open every time you swallow and equalize the pressure, and if it isn't able to do that, then now you've got pressure that's trapped and now you're miserable.
And maybe the good news is if you have this chronic problem, you've been suffering for a long time, there is something now that you can do about it.
There is, yeah, and it's a big deal. So in the first time really in medical history, we've got an option. So what we used to have to do for folks who had this issue was to put ear tubes in, so which is a simple, easy thing to do, but we put tubes in the eardrums. We're not fixing the underlying issue, we're just bypassing it, so allowing another way for the ears to equalize pressure. With this new procedure, we're able to use a balloon in the Eustachian tube and dilate it. So that's a huge deal.
Is it similar to the procedure you've talked to us before about that you do in the sinuses?
The sinuses, yep, exactly. So you know, there's the balloon that we use in the sinus areas, and we've been using that for more than 10 years now, and so that's great. And for most of those 10 years, we've been sort of waiting for this time because the Eustachian tubes, our hands have been tied up till now, and we haven't had a good option for these folks. And finally, you know, we knew that balloon would look likely to work. Its studies have proven that it does work, and now it's sort of unleashed on those folks who are really having issues.
And it's great that you can bring this new treatment, this procedure to people. Is it a long-term solution, or is it something that's sort of a temporary fix?
We're finding out. It looks to be very promising in the studies. So the studies have gone out 1 to 2 years, and it looks like it's lasting in those folks. And so it's a great thing. I mean, so.
And is this something that, because so many of your procedures, I think the thing that's wonderful about it is that you can do them in office. People have a quick recovery. Does this fall into that same category?
It will. Right now it's done. We're still trying to figure out how to make somebody comfortable while we're doing it. And so right now, you know, not just here, but throughout the country, you know, the places that are able to offer this, it's generally done with sedation or under general anesthesia now. You know, I'd say in a few months, few years from now, we'll probably be doing that in the office as an outpatient procedure, because the procedure itself is very quick, simple to do, and have done as long as you're comfortable, but we don't want to do something that's making somebody uncomfortable even in the moment.
Yeah, definitely. And do people recover quite quickly?
Yeah, the back end's really easy. So the back end, I mean, literally, so what we're doing is using a balloon in the Eustachian tube, dilating that, inflating the balloon to dilate that tube, so that area that's squeezing down, we've now opened it up. So in the moment, that's a big pressure change, but once that's behind you, then that area is kind of jumpstart and is not working for you.
Are a lot of people who have chronic sinus issues also have this? Do the two sort of go hand in hand?
Absolutely. So the Eustachian tubes are almost like an accessory sinus in the back of the nose. So if you've got sinus issues and that similar kind of pressure up front, many folks have the ear issues. And so fixing the sinuses can help with the Eustachian tubes, and that's what we've sort of been hoping for in the past. Now we can do something to the sinuses if need be, do something to Eustachian tubes if need be, really, you know, target the options.
People who've had this procedure and you've been able to do this, especially if they've been experienced this pain and this pressure for a long time, what do they say after the procedure?
It's life-changing. I mean, it's great. I mean, that's why I love doing what I do, is so we have these neat tools that we can use. When we use them, you know, nothing's 100%. This isn't magic either, but I'd say, you know, it's nice when we usually can win, and a battle we've been losing for my entire career, now we're winning.
And are people hearing better also? Because that tends to plug.
Yeah, I mean, you basically would get rid of that plug plug that's in your ear, get rid of that. I mean, just imagine if they had that earplane feel or cold feel always, and finally to have some relief. Really, and these folks have been suffering these issues typically their whole life, because it starts as a kid, moves on to being an adult. Now they're an adult, and again, we haven't had a good solution for them, but now we do.
Truly affects quality of life. What's the name? Does the procedure have a name?
It's basically Eustachian tube balloon dilation.
Okay.
So pretty simple. So balloon dilating that Eustachian tube.
For people who have this dysfunction. It's wonderful. And you do consultations for
Absolutely.
it
Yep.
to see if someone's a good candidate
Absolutely.
for it.
Yes.
And on children as well, or is it mainly
Children,
just adults?
right now it's adults. Same thing I said with the anesthesia part of things. We need to figure out in adults, does this work? How is it, how is it lasting? This will be something. I don't have any doubt in my mind that it's going to be a matter of when versus if this is going to be a good option for the kiddos.
It's wonderful. Here's the information so you can get a consultation at Advent. They have an office in Wauwatosa on North Mayfair Road. It's Advanced Ear, Nose, and Throat Specialist. The phone number to call is 414-771-6780. They also have an office in Mequon on North Port Washington Road. ADVENT.md is the website too to visit for more information. Great to see you.
Great
Thanks
to be
so
here.
much.
Thank you.